Okay, Jim, so when you get into Wufoo, you have to log in through a special URL. It's like multimedia MC or MCC multimedia.wufoo.com/login, I believe. So, unfortunately, when I first created this account, it was just for me to use a multimedia, and I didn't realize it was going to make this URL. And now that we have it, we can't change it. So, anybody who needs to log in, you'll have to give them, they can't just go to like wufoo.com. So once you get in here, you'll see that I have a bunch of forms going in here. We actually have 17. The ones that you're going to pay attention to for curriculum committee is add, change, or delete a course and add, change, or delete a program. There are others, if you go to the next page, old versions that ended in June 2015. So those are just kind of for reference if we ever need to go back and look. So mostly you're going to be coming in here to either of these forms, and I usually go to all entries for both of them. So program doesn't usually have a lot of entries, so we'll just go to all entries for right now. And as you can see, I can see a little bit of information here, and it says what's approved and the date that it was submitted. But this might not be the information that you're looking for. You might be actually looking for the name of the program. And if I click on one of these, you can see a little bit more about that submission. So what I always do is click on this green add a column to this table button. And these kind of top ones are for us, the curriculum committee. I go back after the meeting and just put notes in there. And so I don't want to filter by that. So usually I'll do current date so I know when they've submitted it. And I'll do the program title, and maybe I'll take that off first and go, what would you like to do? And then new program title, because then that's showing me they want to add a program, what the name of the program is. And usually I'll come down here and actually do completion status, because sometimes people get halfway through it and they don't complete it and then they submit another one. So if I see that that's not completed, I know I can delete that one. So you can see these are all completed. So as I look in here, the last program that's been changed was the computer support technician, and it was on Friday, September 14th. So as I'm going to make the minutes for the January curriculum committee meeting, I'm going to go ahead and open up the last agenda from November and change all this stuff out to say January and 2019. And we're going to have to change this to you. And I'll do special guests. And usually the special guests will include whoever's coming in to talk about their program. So like if Eris was going to come in and talk about the program, or a course she wanted to add or change or whatever, then she would be listed in the special guests. And anytime they submit something, you'll just have to say, here's when our committee meeting is. Please plan to be there and talk about whatever you submitted. And if they can't make it to it, then make sure to tell them that they need to have their dean ready and able to defend what they're trying to do. Because if they're not there to answer our questions, and nobody there can answer our questions, like one of the deans, like if they don't know what they're doing, then we will table it. So if they wanted to get through, they need to be at the meeting, or they need to have somebody designated to be there to answer the questions. So what I'm going to do in here is any program changes, I would list the program name here, and I usually put the word add, change, or delete so people know what we're doing. And because I'm a visual person, I color code, but again, this is totally however you want to do it. And then I'm going to come in and find all the courses that have been submitted. Now they automatically go to me, but they're just filtered into a folder where I save everything. So it's just easier for me to come into Wufoo and see what was submitted here. So I'll go to add, change, or delete a course, go to entries, and just choose all entries. And again, nothing is showing right here because I have to filter. So I'm going to go in and say current date, when is it effective, and what would you like to do? And course prefix and title, and then usually completion status, and then it's weird because you have to scroll all the way down to click done. So again, all of these things will help, like see how this one is English Composition 1 and English Composition 2, and this is History of Modern China, and one's incomplete and one's complete. If this is the incomplete one, they've done 20% of it, then I'll usually just delete this one and click OK. So this one is different. This is English Composition 1, and they didn't get all the way through it, so they must not have wanted to do it. So I'll again hit delete. So let's see. I think we have a Spanish that's incomplete. It's 40%. And I don't know, see, they didn't add their email or anything, so I usually just delete the incompletes. But I'll usually come, and if it looks like it's 90%, I'll think that maybe they finished it and they just forgot to hit like submit on the last screen. So then I'll call them. All right, so we're getting rid of all those incompletes. And as you can see, there was stuff that was submitted November 29th, and our last committee meeting was, let me think about this, like November, no, that's 2019. I don't have a calendar. So we'll just look through these like November 29th and see how it doesn't have any notes for me on there. But like November 13th, ooh, that should have notes for me on there. I don't know why it doesn't. I'll come back to, I'll show you one from earlier. So like, see how this one, it says it's approved, and during the meeting we did something to it. So usually I come back through and I approve all of these and I write notes on here. So I'll come in and edit it, and I'll say, okay, on this day, November, when the heck was it? It would be November 20th. So I say on November 20th, we approved the change to this radiologic course, or we tabled it, or whatever the case may be. So I'm just going to go back to view. All right. So I don't want to see anything, let's see, November 6th. I think all of those we did. Lit 205. So I do believe it's November 29th to January 2nd. So you can always come and search right here and say current date. So if I know if I know the last committee meeting was on November 20th, or if I cut everybody off on November 1st, which I like to pretend I do, but I don't. So if I cut everybody off, then I can say if our current date is after November 20th filter, so then it only shows me the things that have been submitted since the last meeting, so that I can start adding them to this agenda. And usually what I'll do is I'll come in here and I'll say, okay, we're looking at Anthropology 111, and they're going to change a course, and I can hit this little magnifying glass. And I usually say, what are they trying to change? And the only thing is the course description. And because it says an SFCC, I believe it's a change by SFCC. I can't remember. Where does it say that? Is this a change made by Common Course Numbering System? Yes. Then I'll usually put that in here. So I'm going to come in here and just change these. So I'll do change ANT 111 biological anthropology. All right, and we'll just start adding it there, and I'll put any notes in here, like this is just going to change the description, and I'll format that so it's not actually bold and blue or whatever. And just put little tiny notes there. Any other committee business that usually people say, don't forget, we need to talk about this during our last curriculum committee or our next curriculum committee meeting. And I'll usually put an update, things I want to remember to talk about from the last SFCC meeting here. And then I'll just always put the next meeting date at the bottom. So anyway, that's how I prep. And I'll usually call if I'm looking through these courses and I see anything weird. I'll call that person or email that person and say, hey, I noticed this. What were you trying to do here? And if they have, like, it was just a mistake and they were supposed to put their code right here and they didn't, but they said somewhere on here that this is a GT Pathways course, then they might send me that code and I can come in here and edit, put that in there and save it. And so when people review, they're not reviewing mistakes that we already know about and can quickly fix. All right, so that's the basics of what I do to prep for a curriculum committee meeting. Yep, that's it. Okay.